teams cannot handle my hair right now. I need a haircut really bad. This close to going ponytail.
So you should have this snap camera and then just put on something. Like I have this make SharePoint great again cap.
Just let your wife cut your hair, Daniel. That's what I did. It's great. The front's good, but the back not so much.
I wonder if you put like green thing, sort of like green paint in the air, coloring, like you color in green, then you can do like all that kind of green screen on it.
That's a good idea.
It's got to be said, Daniel, with the curtains, man. You look like, well, that's what we call that kind of hairstyle in the UK. You look about 10 years younger. You look like a teenager again.
Daniel, I can send you some instructions if you like.
Oh yeah, David sent me instructions about hair. I can see that. Yeah.
I guess we can get started now.
Yeah, I think it's about time.
I started recording, so wait.
Hello, so welcome to PowerAddicts April lockdown. You wouldn't notice anything different because we're all sat in front of our computers as normal, so it's not really been made a blind bit of difference for any of us because we're still inside like a total bunch of geeks and nerds that we are. We've got some super awesome people on the call today, as usual, but this time we have an Africa-focused power platform ensemble of Fioin and Sam, who have been heading up the power platform expansion that's been happening in Africa at an absolute rate of knots. So big shout out to them, and we'll get to those guys in a minute. We've got a little kind of agenda for today, so we're going to try and cover that off. We've got some shout outs for all the awesome COVID work that's been going on, and some other bits and pieces. So strap tight, and we'll kind of crack on. So first on the list of things to do is we've got some new MVPs, haven't we? So Geetha, do you want to let us know who they all are? Because I keep forgetting all of the names.
Well, I just realized while making note that most of the new MVPs have their names starting with S.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Seems like a pattern. Yeah. So we have
like
Sancho, we have Samuel, who's on the call with us today, and then we have Sharon Summer. These are the three names that popped up on my feed, and I'm sure there are several others. I mean, if anybody else knows anyone I missed, please feel free to share them.
Samuel, do you want to play your applause button?
Yeah. Unfortunately, I have not wired that in, but I'll make sure I have that for next time.
Well, huge congratulations. Yes, big congrats.
Big applause.
Yeah.
Big time.
Congratulations.
I don't think sadly Sancho's not managed to join, but Sharon and Sancho from UK, massive thanks for everything they've done. Sancho's been an inspiration to me for a very, very long time now. I think the guy's absolutely incredible. I think everything he does just is revolutionary. So big shouts out and big props to Sancho. And just it's really made my day, that one. So not that they all make my day, but they all make my day, so that's really cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we've got coming up, we've got some Hack for Good stuff happening as well. We've got a Hack for Good being planned for Embass, where we had we're going to have Embass as a in public event now that's been moved to a virtual event, which is free for everyone to join. So strongly suggest you come along. It's going to be awesome. And Mr. Huntingford and Mr. Dorrington and the usual TDG lunatics are busy planning a hack for good. So hopefully that'll happen. Please shout out to the Power Platform community, the Bespoke Badger Pub, and we'll be sure to kind of have a little look and see what we can get out of that. We've had some bright side of COVID, I suppose. There's been a whole bunch of people really building micro apps and micro solutions. So this has been predominantly based around the community groups and helping small hospitals and some larger hospitals, just getting some of the grunt work out of the way when it comes to collecting data. There's a huge request for data from central government and from governmental organisations across the world. Microsoft's Crisis Communicator app, I think it's somewhere near 3,000 organisations or something it's in now. There's rumours of it being in very high-powered places, in government organisations, all kinds of places, and it's been expanded, and it's really starting to be a catalyst for growth in Power Platform, and it's bringing new users to it. But there's also a whole bunch of micro apps that have been built, and what's been awesome is Shona Bang from the Tech for Social Impact team, the Humans of IT. She's in the process of putting a little piece together for us where we are here in the world, and we've got all of these skills and want to help people. And how do we get the people who need the help to us? Because that seems to be the hardest thing at the moment. So if you know people who are up for helping, if you know people who need help, please do shout out. We'll try and link you up with someone in the area, and do it more locally with time zones and all the rest of it, because that kind of helps with the whole work-life balance thing. So please do say that. But there's lots going on. And if you see Will Dorrington, myself, but a bunch of other people, they're all building stuff. So please do reach out, and we will share whatever we can with you as solutions. But a lot of it's quite bespoke. So someone's got a very niche need to do this particular thing with COVID, and Power Platform's doing an awesome job of supporting that. So that's been excellent. And I've not got COVID. That's just normal cough. We're congratulating our new MVP. So let's have a chat with Fern and see what she's got to tell us. Would you like to introduce yourself to everyone, for those of you who don't yet know your awesomeness?
Okay, thanks, Kit. I'm just going to share my screen now.
Just 1 second. Did we want to cover Daniel's topic?
Oh yes, sorry, Daniel.
Yeah,
Daniel, do you want to do your topic, mate?
Okay.
Sorry, buddy.
Sorry about.
I missed that on the list, Daniel. Sorry.
I really didn't have much to share. I was just talking about adjusting to this whole COVID-19, working remotely from home. I just make the most of everything. That's all I do. Since most of us are speakers, we don't get we haven't had the opportunity to even some of us leave our houses. I blog a lot, and that's kept me busy over there. Go ahead and join the user communities. One positive side of COVID-19, if there is such a thing, is many of the sessions which were going to be in person, like the SharePoint Saturdays and all these other events, they've all gone virtual. So that suddenly opened up a huge variety of me to attend so many sessions over there. And that's great. I mean, it really helps and made a big option for me. So I'm just trying to make the most of this. The problem I ran into was I did not have enough slacks for this. So I did have to go to Amazon and buy some really comfortable, pants just to wear at home. But that was the only negative thing. Other than that, other negative thing we just talked about is I need a haircut. I mean, I really need a haircut. But if you can, besides that, and I digress, making the most of this is great. Building apps, blogging, attending as many sessions as you can. User communities just like this one. Now that they're all gone virtual, just make the most of it. That's all I have to say.
All right, thanks, Daniel. All right, Foyne,
Thank you.
did you want to? Yeah. Right, go ahead.
Okay, sure. All right, please can you confirm you can see my screen now?
Yep, sure can.
Okay, great. Okay, so hello everyone. My name is Foyne Olajide, and I'm just going to spend the next few minutes basically talk about my journey on the Power Platform and how I got into the whole Power Platform the tools, the community, and basically how it has been so far. So yes, so basically we're going to look about me, my journey, then the contributions I've made where I work. I work in Sterling Bank PLC and also in the Power Platform community here in Nigeria. So I hope that my story would excite us and also inspire us in some ways. Okay, so my handles on Twitter, LinkedIn, I'm an Office 365 program lead at Sterling Bank and also a certified trainer. All right, so how did it start? So I basically started my whole career in the collaboration and portal space. I've been doing that for about 11 years now. So from SharePoint 2003 up to 2007 and 2010, on and on. So I used to work in an IT consulting firm where we try to help companies solve their productivity issues and collaboration issues using SharePoint and also help them automate their processes. So back then, what we used to use was we used InfoPath for the front end design and the SharePoint designer as the engine at the back to run the process. So when Office 2016 was released, discovered that InfoPath wasn't a part of it. So we all got a bit worried, like what's next? Why is Microsoft not releasing InfoPath 2016? Why are we still stuck on 2013? And basically, at that point, we didn't have any answers, but we just trusted that Microsoft was going to do the right thing and give us a better solution. So then in 2019, a friend that we used to use InfoPath together before basically introduced me to PowerAddicts and said, oh, I don't use InfoPath any longer. What I use now is PowerAddicts, and it's a great tool. It does everything that InfoPath can do, and it gives you a very wonderful interface. It's mobile friendly, so your users can open up the applications right from their mobile phones, and just gave me all the advantages of using PowerAddicts. And so that's how I created my first. So I decided that the next request I was going to get, I was going to use PowerAddicts to do it. So when I got the next request in the office, which was the ATM collation portal, I just started with PowerAddicts. So it was a lot of searching on the internet, not sure how to achieve what I wanted to achieve, and a bit of stumbling here and there, but I made it through and I was able to complete my first app. So basically, this is Sterling, and a while back in 2019, we partnered with Pearls Africa, where their vision is to develop young girls and encourage them to learn how to code and how to develop technology skills. So I was opportunity to speak at that event, and I was able to share my experience of how far I have come as a woman in the tech space and the massive opportunities that were out there for them. Just asking them to embrace those opportunities. So yes, so my major sponsors in Sterling Bank, the Chief Human Resource Officer, is the lady I'm with here, and our Chief Digital Officer. So our Power Platform journey has been very smooth in Sterling Bank because we have two of the executives like completely on the same page about the whole digitization, the whole benefits of the Power Platform journey. So I didn't have a situation where I had to justify or I had to make cases as to why we needed to use the tools. It was just like a no-brainer, and they were completely game on it. So due to that, I started getting a lot of requests after the first app I created because it looked very nice and the speed at which it was done. So I decided, no, this is not going to work. I can't survive this. So I thought that the best thing for me to do is to start the Citizen Developer Academy. And I sold the idea to the Chief Digital Officer and the Chief Human Resource Officer. So at that time in Sterling, we started this upskilling academy for all our staff, because we are aware that the future of work is here and it's now, and there are some skills and knowledge that you need to have to survive the new world of work. So we have different streams in the academy. So I was able to infuse the system developer as an academy under the whole I Learn academies, and we had 3 sets before the whole COVID-19 lockdown, and this is the first set here. You can see me here, and most of the people that came were completely in non-tech roles. That's the most amazing part of it, and they were able to develop and build their own applications. So what was a sense of, I got a sense of fulfillment from doing this, because rather than having users come to me to say, oh, I need to build this app, I've been able to enable the users to build apps themselves. Like I had a particular user then, she was actually in technology, and she kept coming to say, oh, please, my work is still pending with you. Can you help me build my app? And I said, you know what, register for the System Developer Academy and come learn how to do it yourself. And she was able to come for the academy, and with little support and guidance, she actually built her app herself, and she completed everything and is currently in use now across the bank. So that was really, really fulfilling for me. And yes, special thanks to Mr. Dang, to Donna, to Chris. They're very helpful with trying to put together the curriculum. What's the best way to help non-tech people get started, and what do we need to say now? What do we leave for later? So the curriculum doesn't get too cumbersome for them and they get lost. So that was how I started. And then basically we're going to have additional streams once the lockdown is over. And also, I'm also doing some POCs with the Microsoft CAT team on the UI flows. So we're exploring.
Did we lose Foyen? Yeah, I think she seems to be raising up.
Fine, if you can hear us, can you try disconnecting and joining back in?
Let's see if I can send her a message.
While she's joining, a couple of things that just blew my mind, and that's been a repetition that we've seen, is how it doesn't take a whole lot to start a community. It's the need for a passion. And when you see a need, Power Apps and just can go in and fill in that need. But more importantly is that once even if you built 1, maybe 2 apps, it immediately gives you the excitement to go and share that with somebody else. And that goes ahead and then the more you share and the more you kind of teach that to others, the more better you get over there. So that I was really impressed with even the few slides that we've seen with her.
Yeah, it certainly seems that the whole team at her bank are very pro technology, and I mean, we've had this discussion so many times about kind of like technology in Africa, and it's like it's almost like they skipped middle school. They were the clever kids and decided to skip middle school. And you look in a lot of African countries, and they've already gone contactless. Like they've skipped the whole chip and ping thing, and they've just gone totally contactless with cash. And it's kind of game changing. And seeing just the adoption rate and the passion for technology is just it's so inspiring. And I just think, I forget Donna Sakar turning around and saying, "Look, I talked to so many sort of countries who you consider to be like very far ahead with technology, and no, they're still talking about on-prem. They don't want to move this. They don't want to do that. They don't want to go to the cloud." And she said something about like, and she said, "You go to Africa and ask that question, they say, what, do you think I'm stupid? Why wouldn't I go to the cloud? Like, why wouldn't I use this thing? What am I dumb?" Yeah. It's like a kind of a personal insult. So I just think it's going to be incredible. I think the next year, with the potential social impact that this app making framework can have, and I think that as country after country gets the bug, not the COVID bug, the Power Apps bug, it's going to grow, and it's people like Fern and Sam who are the pariahs and leading the way.
Yeah.
I guess I don't know. I mean, if did Foyne kind of, was anyone able to reach out to her?
No.
Yeah, I
How
just
are you?
sent her a WhatsApp. She's not responded yet, so
Should we switch over to Samuel's demo while she is able to, she tries to join back? Guess. Okay.
sure, we can do that.
But we've got to introduce Samuel. So Samuel's kind of got the best video setup we've ever seen.
Oh yeah.
Like,
I try.
So this is
Okay.
going to put the rest of us to shame. This is like the news at 10.
No.
He's just very creative, very innovative, and I was just blown away by your recent IoT-based solution that you had for washing hands.
Yeah.
That was just amazing. It's a perfect use of technology during the perfect time.
Yep.
Yeah, when I had my session with Samuel, I was we had the whole session on API, so I was like, this is all done. I need to talk to you about what you are doing now.
Right?
Yeah.
That's why we have the host as a guest now on the red hot seat.
Yeah. So take it away, Samuel.
Yeah. Yep. Let me move this around. So I'm going to be doing a few, like I mentioned. Let me move this here so we can see this. And I'm not going to share my screen. I don't know if you can, if my video can be enlarged. I don't know if that's a thing, because most of my demos would be like coming. I don't know if that's something we can explore.
I don't know. Teams doesn't allow that, I guess.
So like right
now, make Sam the presenter. Yeah.
You should be seeing my video, which is the slides.
Yeah, we see Powerless platform.
Yeah. I mean, if this is not big enough, I can just share my screen and go through the slide, and then we can figure out how to blow up my
it's like
video.
Everyone can pin your tile so that it will become the biggest one. It will cover the whole area.
Oh yeah.
So if I pin you, then you're the biggest one.
Okay. All right. If that's the case right now, yeah, sure. So let me know if you can see that and pin it, and then I can take it from here. All right.
Sure.
Am I good to go?
Yes.
Actually, I mean, now that I think about it, the recording might not show it.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah,
Let me just share the screen, and then yeah, I would figure out how to get the demo showing, maybe with a camera or something, but we'll figure that out. All right. So today I'm just going to be talking about how the Power Platform falls in love with IoT, and Vivek said it. It's all API driven. So a little about myself. I am a recent MVP. Yay! I'm also an MCT and an Oracle certified professional. I'm currently a senior software developer with Andela. I do a lot of IoT, AI, and cloud solution architecture. I'm also a community lead for the Accra Power Platform user group, the only power user group in the country, and also the .NET user group. And
for now, Sam, there's going to be more.
Yes, for now. We actually encouraging a lot more people, especially in different parts of the country, so we can have a lot of meetups, and then we can collaborate. So that's actually in the pipeline. And then, as you all know, I have 3 shows every week. I stream IoT Tuesdays. On Tuesday, we do the Demystify Tech on Fridays, and then the Awesome Power series on Sundays. I also do a podcast, which will come out once every Friday. I have a couple of backlogs, but they'll be coming up sometime this week. Yeah, so those are my social media handles down there. So today, simply, I will be talking about the IoT Hub. We're talking about device twins, and then something called direct method invocation, and the integration into Visual Studio Code. and then I'm going to show a demo. So hopefully we'll see how we can get this going. So I'm just going to flip to my desktop, and we can quickly talk about the IoT Hub. Trying to make this very interactive and very, very, very simple, not to take much time. So the IoT Hub is actually Microsoft offering that allows you to connect your IoT devices at scale. It consists, as part of the IoT offerings at Microsoft, it consists of, you can have the Azure IoT Central, you can have the IoT Edge, you can have EventGrid, but then IoT Hub is kind of like the glue between your IoT devices and your cloud offerings and services. So just like any other Microsoft services, there are some free tiers of it. So if you wanted to connect your IoT device, whether it's Raspberry Pi or whether it's an Azure Sphere or it's one of those ESP32s or 2866, you would first of all come into the Microsoft Azure portal, and then you create an IoT Hub. Fortunately, I have created one for the sake of time. And once you've created the IoT Hub, the next thing you do is to create what we call the IoT devices. So when you create the device, this device is a digital representation of your IoT device, your physical IoT device. You might see this, it might be a fridge, it might be an air conditioner, it might be any smart thing that you want to digitally connect. And as you can see, I have my Raspberry Pi connector, which I'm going to do the demo with today. So you go ahead and create a new device, just click new. I'll walk through the process of giving it a device name, and then you have options in terms of securing it, and default is a symmetric key, but you can use signed certificate if you want to. Now, why this is important is that one of the biggest problems or challenges when it comes to IoT is security. There's a lot of talk about IoT not safe, a lot of the solutions not safe, and therefore becomes a problem when people are implementing or rolling out IoT projects. But thanks to the IoT Hub, you can securely do that. There is also the Microsoft device provisioning service that allows you to provision your IoT devices at scale. So let's say, for instance, I'll use a company like Johnson Controls that monitors or runs a lot of smart buildings and devices. They would want to provision or enroll their air conditioners or control units like at scale. They wouldn't want to come here and then create a new device for one to, like, you can, even though you can use like an ARM template or a shell script to do it, the device provisioning service allows you to do that on a large scale. So what happens is that once you pre-configure the device, you plug the device onto the network, and automatically it connects to the device provisioning service, and then it's giving credentials with which the IoT Hub and the cloud allows for it to communicate securely. So I have gone ahead to create my my Raspberry Pi device here, and this leads me to talk about the couple of things up here: the digital twin, the direct method, and then message to device. But for today's purpose, I'll be talking mostly about the digital twin and the direct method, because this is where the love story starts. So, so the digital twin is technically a digital representation of your device or your IoT device. In our case, it's our Raspberry Pi. In your case, it could be your air conditioner. In your case, it could be your smart oven. In your case, it could be your smart watch. It could be your smart dog feeder or your smart cat feeder. It could be anything that you want, to IoT enable. Now, when you come here, what happens is that it gives you this property, or we call the device twin property, that allows you to communicate and maintain the state between your digital version and the physical device. So we have something called the desired state and the reported state. So again, going back to the Johnson Control experience example, they might want all their air conditioning units in a particular building to be running at a particular temperature and maybe at a particular speed. That would be termed as a desired state. So I don't know if you can see my screen quite big enough. I want to scroll so you can see this. So if you look at my device twin, in the properties, you can see desired state. So in here, I've actually instructed my device or my Raspberry Pi to say that the trigger temperature, which is technically a temperature at which point my fan is turned on automatically, or if I wanted to maybe change it to an infrared sensor that can send a signal to my air conditioning unit up here. And then the desired state for my LEDs and my fan, which I'll be showing today, is set them to false. So which means that is the desired state of my device. Now, however, the device can also report its state. So if you look closely here, there are reported states. As of now, it's reporting that the fan is still off, the LED is off, and the message interval is 3000. So I use something here. The message interval is just the interval to which the device sends data to the cloud or sends it to IoT Hub. So the device twin is just a way to manage and control your device to keep it in a desired state. So to demonstrate this, I'm going to just open up. So what I have here is I have a Raspberry Pi, which is sitting on my desk here. Flipping to this, if you look at my video, you probably should see my my desktop right now, my workbench. Let me know if you can see the workbench in my video. Is it visible?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So if you're looking at my video there, you can see I have a fan here. This is actually and please caution, you could get electrocuted if you're dealing with high voltage. So this is actually running off 240 volts, and there is a relay here. Now this relay is the one triggering or enabling the voltage into the fan. And as you can see here, I have my Raspberry Pi connected to the internet, and then I have and then here also there is a DHT11 that records the temperature and humidity. So if you're also looking at my screen right now, you should see that there's some activity going on. Actually, let me open this up here and close this up. So I use the chalk NPM library to give it some color so you can see what's happening. So currently it's reading the temperature and humidity in the room right now, and it's supposed to push it into IoT Hub for any processing. Now, however, if you're using the IoT Hub, you have a certain limited number of messages you can send in a month. And in order not to say every 5 minutes or every 5 seconds or whatever it is, I'm sending data, what I did was to implement a simple logic in the code that determines if the last temperature that was sent to the hub, if it's not changed, there's no need sending any message to the IoT Hub. It would only send a message if it changes. So I have with me here, it's a heat gun. I'm going to blow some heat. I'm going to blow some heat into as you can see, doing that right now. And when this is hot enough, it should start. Now, if you look onto the screen, it's detected a change in the temperature. And then this has been sent to the IoT Hub. I think that is enough before I bend the sensor. So it's detected changes in the temperature and it's pushed this into the IoT Hub. So currently this data is going into the IoT Hub. Now with this, there's a number of things I can do. I can connect this to an event grid or event hub, and then I can actually now go and trigger a Power Automate onto it to say anytime I receive data from this sensor, analyze the data and do something about it. If I want to actually show the streaming data in Power BI, I'll just connect it to Azure Stream Analytics and then get all this data going into the Stream Analytics and then pipe it into Power BI. And then I can have a dashboard of streaming data. Now that is something that has been done several times. I think that it's actually living on the IoT Hub documentation. But the cool part that has not been done yet is controlling. I think that I've not seen any documentation on is controlling or sending commands from Power Apps to your physical devices onto your IoT device. That's what I will be talking about. And I'm just going to walk you through quickly the code base. It's quite simple. I'm using the Node version of the IoT Hub SDK. There is a Python SDK. There is a C# SDK. But because I'm trying to keep things very minimal, JavaScript and Node minimal, so I'm using the Node SDK. So it's quite simple. There are a bunch of methods here, and I'll make this. This is actually in my GitHub repo, open source. So I'll share the link after that, and you can go and check it out. So it's just a bunch of methods that are invoked when a command is received. So to trigger this, I'm going to go into, first of all, I'm going to go into IoT. I'm going to go to IoT apps and do this from here. So from our device, yep. So this is a direct. I'm going to be using the direct method call. So I'm going to go here, and then it's asking me the method I want to call from the Raspberry Pi or my IoT device. And I have, if I take you back to the code, I have a bunch of direct methods here that I can call right here. So I have two methods. One is toggle LED and toggle the fan. So this is a method you call that turns on or off the fan based on the command you send it. So if you send an on, it turns the fan on. If you send an off, it turns it off. So I'm going to copy this, and then let's go to our. So I'm going to put the name here, and then I want to turn it on. And again, just keep your keep your eyes on my video, and you will see that when this goes through, this should actually toggle the fan. And oh, we encountered an error. Okay, well, oh yeah, I think I know why this happened, because here is expecting a string. And if you look into my video, you can see that the fan is running right now. I can go back there with the same method and send an off to it. So if I invoke this, that turns the fan off. So with this opens up a lot of possibility for us to now start connecting it to technically anything. So this is where PowerAddicts comes in. And before I go to PowerAddicts, I just quickly want to show that you don't necessarily need to run this in the Azure portal. If you install the IoT Hub extension in Visual Studio Code, you can do the same thing. So I could just right click on the device here and then do invoke a direct method. And again, pass the name of the method and then the command, in this case on, and then that still triggers it. And if you're looking at my video, you see that the fan is running at this moment. Now, so all fun stuff, crazy stuff. Now here, this is where the love story starts. So in PowerAddicts, I mean, something very minimal. Now, I mean, nothing fancy, nothing crazy, something just very, very minimal. So I put a button here because just to give you an idea of what I intend to do with this. So this is just to tease you with what I'm going to do. But it starts off with a flow or an automate. So let me just go in here and just show the flow. So obviously triggered from a power up, and we are making an HTTP call to my IoT hubs and specifically to the Raspberry Pi. And then I'm passing in the authorization and telling it it's a JSON. And pretty much this is like a simple body that tells it what method am I calling and what state am I giving it, on or off. So just a simple flow here, which is passed into JSON and back to the flow. So very simple. I'm going to run this. And if you're looking at my video right now, you should see that the fan is already running. So we're going to toggle this off. So let's do this. Just click this and see what happens. So you can see the matching ants up there. And then hopefully we should have this turn off. Let me check my flow. Let's see if there's something just happened with the flow. Let's check the run. Save this. Gods of Demo Day. Okay, I'm going to run this. I'm going to try to run this again. And let's see what's happening with the flow. Let's go here, check the, oh, okay, it failed. Let's see. Okay, HTTP requests. All right, so for some reason, I keep getting this problem that it keeps on, if I generate a token, after a while, it invalidates the token. So to fix this, because I was very much aware of this problem, there's a quite simple way to do this. Let me know if you can see this. I'm trying to, I'm using the the Azure command line tool. So I'm going to generate a new token. And then I'm just going to replace that token in our flow. And that should solve the problem quite easy. Yep, so we have a new token. Let me copy this. And then So all we need to do is to go into our flow. Let's go into our flow and let's replace let's go here and replace the authorization that does it. Vivek, I don't know if you've experienced this before, but this
it depends on the authentication. You basically need a refresh token every time.
Yeah.
Of yours, yeah. So you probably need to create a custom connector for that.
Well, the API guy has spoken. So with this done now, let's go back to our and I'm going to click this again. Yeah, and there you go. I don't know if you can see on my bench that now the fan is off. So again, now I'm saying that this is a minimalistic one. Ideally, I want to create a more complicated, not complicated, but a more fancier look. So now change this and then toggle this. And now you can see the fan is running. And that is a very simple and sweet love story between Power Apps, Power Automate, and then the IoT world. I mean, if you think about this, the possibilities are endless. I could have like all the things in my house showing here. And then in an enterprise environment as well, this could be used to manage control devices, all across our establishment, all across our deployment. And that is the very simple love story that I have to share with you today. Thank you very, very much.
So Samuel, we have one question from Tomash, which is like considering about the cost. So he's excited to do all these things as well, and probably even I would be excited to do it.
Yep.
What are the costs kind of involved from a hardware standpoint, from even the Azure IoT Hub? So
okay. Yeah. So pricing. So currently I'm using like the very lowest tiers of pricing for the IoT Hub. And that's why I said that some of the cost saving mechanisms is not to allow your sensors or devices to be sending like regular messages to the hub. I think you have a total of about, is it 8,000 messages in a month or so? I would have to cross check that. So the key is I'm only sending sensor data if there's a change. So if let's say the last temperature was 70 degrees, I mean, unless of course it changes to maybe 69 or goes above 70, I'm not in interval sending messages. So that kind of like maintains or gives me that value. I mean, yes, there are ways we could have gone about it. You could have decided to, create a client on your Raspberry Pi and then directly communicate with it. But then you have the issue of exposing port forwarding, all those craziness just to have remote access to your devices. The hub is a very inexpensive one. If you have tried IoT Central is just a service that is encapsulating all this. IoT Hub, event grids and all that flow and all that in the background to allow you direct access to your devices without having to do this manually. But if you want, to go get your hands dirty and do this, this is a very simple way you can do it. And as you can see, we've gone through Power Automate, we've gone through Power Apps, and easily the same way, this could also be called from a Power Virtual Agent. So I could even type in and say, turn on my fan, and then the agent does that and reports with the state your fan is off. So possibilities endless.
Awesome.
Nice.
Another quick question for you, Samuel. I mean, for those who are, wanting to start this or, play around with this, what are some of the resources that you would point people to as a starting point?
So there's a lot and tons of documentations on the Microsoft IoT Hub page, plenty of documentations on the SDK, on the APIs and all that, a lot of it. I mean, in terms of hardware, all you need to get is just a Raspberry Pi pretty much, and that's it. There are a lot of cool hacks you can do. Like for instance, one of the hacks I have is I have an IR sensor, and I have been able to actually I got the data sheet for the air conditioner I'm using, so I kind of know the hex code that the air conditioning remote is sending to my AC. So one of the things I have done is I have hacked around it. I'm actually waiting to get an IR blaster because that is able to send match. But right now I have it placed at a particular point where I can send commands, and then my IoT setup detects the temperature and is able to adjust the regulation of my AC in the room. I mean, I don't have a Nest here, so
You're building your
That's
own
pretty cool.
nest.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and it's quite different because Ghana or Africa is in the tropics. Most of the buildings we have, I mean, that old buildings do not have this integrated heating and cooling and all that. You either have your own fitted air conditionings that you have to regulate. So I can't just throw a nest on the wall and connect to the thermostat somewhere. So I have to be creative. So yeah.
Yep, everyone's fascinated with your demo in the chat, so you should go check that out and feel free to continue your questions for Samuel, who'll be available in the chat
Sure,
area
I
to
can
answer your
leave it.
questions.
And
Yeah.
the cool thing is that I'm going to leave. All the source code is going to be in GitHub, so you can. And I'm also going to add the schematics, the freezing schematics to it, so you can download the schematics. Look at how I connected the Raspberry Pi to the relay to the fan and LEDs, and then you can use the code as well. And by using a relay, I mean just as an example, it's endless. There's one cool thing that I saw. I have been playing with it for a while, but it's this onboard diagnostic, this small thing that fits in your car. Now, this is Arduino compatible, and it's also GSM and Wi-Fi compatible. So if I put this little thing underneath the OBD port in my car, one, it gives me access to all the sensors in my car. And then two, it allows me to do almost all the remote functions in my car. So think about it. If I have this little sensor that is in the car and I create an IoT twin for this device, it means that I can even come from PowerApps, come from PVA, come from Flow, and actually control my vehicle and probably tell it, warm up the car, 15 minutes before I go in. I could connect it to Alexa. I know Vivek has done a lot of that. I have a bunch of them lying. I mean, but think about it. I mean, it's opening different dimensions and perspectives. And one of the very, very typical use cases is, I mean, especially in this COVID time, I read there's this company, I keep forgetting the name. I think, is it UA Health? They have a smart ring that detects, just like a Fitbit, but this time it's just a ring format, and it's able to, measure your sleep pattern, your vitals, your pretty much everything about you. Now, what they have done is they partner with some AI company, and they've collected metadata on the stats, the stats for COVID patients. So the temperature pattern, the sleeping pattern, all those common traits from someone who has suffered or has got, is affected by the COVID virus. And they've integrated it into the app. So you wake up every morning, you answer a few questions, it reads your vitals, it compares it with the AI model. And as of now, it can actually tell you 24 hours ahead of time if you have COVID. Which, I mean, gives you 24 hours to reschedule and to rethink whether it's good to go to this particular place you want to go to. And, so it's just endless in terms of possibilities of things we can achieve with IoT and the entire Power Platform, leaving nothing out.
Pretty cool. Yeah. Thanks, Samuel, for your amazing demo today. I really appreciate it. It's a different aspect. Yeah, we always restrict ourselves to Power Apps, Power Automate, but this is cool to see kind of how connected devices and how to use it along with Power Platform.
I just got one little question for you, Sam. Just a personal one. If you've got if I'm a Power Apps person, right, and I've come at this, like I've moved from Excel, I've done app in a day, I've moved into Power Platform, I've got quite good at it. Which language do you suggest that I pick up to do this IoT thing? Are we talking what one would you say was best and that kind of thing?
So I won't say one that is best, because in my submission I mentioned that there are SDKs for almost the major languages: Java, C#, Node, which is JavaScript, and Python. But then, if you're saying, you're coming from, let's say, a very low code, entry. For me, if you ask me, JavaScript would be like the immediate thing. I'll be like, you know what, go take a look at JavaScript. Because with Node, you can do the same thing. And that's why I deliberately picked Node. I could have gone with Python. I could have gone with C#. I could have gone with Java. But I was like, let's keep it to the very bare minimum. I mean, in doing this, I could have actually even gone with Azure Sphere, which is the secured MCU. But I was like, you know what? Not everybody has the Azure Sphere. Raspberry Pi is easily accessible. The ESP32 is accessible. Node is quite very low entry level. So I picked this thing specifically to enable technically anyone, you know, the ability to do these things.
Awesome. Thank you, mate.
Yep.
Foyne, are you back on the meeting? I know we had your presentation cut short, but we'd love to hear the rest of it.
Okay. Hi, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes, we can.
Loud and clear.
Apologies for the break.
Oh, no worries at all. We're just we can't wait to see the rest of your incredible story that you've been sharing with us so far.
Okay, so I'm just sharing my screen now, and I would continue from where I stopped. All right, so that's pretty much what I've been in Sterling Bank, where I work at the moment. So now talking about the community itself and how it got started. Okay, so like I said, when I started, you know, when you're just starting to use an application, you probably are not even sure of how to ask the question when you go online. So I spend a lot of time trying to figure out, okay, what is it that I want to say, and how do I ask this question to get the best answer? And then my friend that introduced me to PowerAddicts sits in the US, so we have this time difference, very long time difference between us. So I have to literally wait for him to wake up and get to work. And then I say, oh, I'm working, I'm trying to figure this out. And he says, oh, this is all you need. He just gives me an expression or explains how I get it done. And I literally get it sorted within 10 minutes. So I was thinking to myself, okay, this, like, getting support from a community member is really cool. So I went for an event, Microsoft Office, and I found out that other people, like other professionals that are starting to get started on Power, on a similar experience where they're struggling with something and they're finding and spending a lot of time on the internet to get answers. So I decided that we should start a local community for Power Apps and Power Automate. I know a lot of Power BI has gained a lot of traction in Nigeria, in our workspace, but not the other tools. So that's basically how we got started. So I started a WhatsApp group, and then I added all my colleagues that are using InfoPath. You know, I started from 2 to 5 to say, guys, InfoPath is getting to its end of life, and Power Apps is the future. You need to start learning how to use Power Apps. You know, and I got a lot of reaction like, oh, we love InfoPath. I said, no, Power Apps is really cool. Once you start using it, you're going to. That's basically how we started the platform. And now we have a group on Telegram for the whole Power platform. This is where using kids work. We're all in the same Telegram group, and we have over 500 people now represented. And I also got registered on the Dynamics community portal. So our first meetup, incredible. Yeah, so we had a lot of the Power Champs and MVPs support us virtually to answer questions. And that was like, Keith introduced us to the CDS. So most of us are coming from the SharePoint space and didn't really have a clue of what CDS was all about. So he gave us a talk on the CDS and what it's about, how it works. And that was like our first event. So after that, I was able to set up a user group in Abuja. So when all the buzz was on Twitter, someone chatted me and said, oh, I'd like to start a user group in Abuja. So I was able to support in starting that off. And this was the first meetup that they had in Abuja. And then, of course, I came on to Sam's Power series, talked about governance and best practices. And special thanks to Manuela. She was really helpful with the Center of the COE. And she had a session with me explaining how I could use it and how all the components work together. So yes, I was able to talk about that on some series. And then we had the boot camp, which was totally awesome and amazing in February. We had over 200 people in attendance, and we spoke about the Power Platform. We had breakout sessions, and the best part of it was all the speakers were local. So between November and February, I've been able to. So the thing is, there were a lot of this Nigerians, IT professionals doing all this great stuff, but they're just sitting like in their little space and doing their own thing. What the community did was we were able to fish them out and bring them to limelight to say, wow, so you have this depth of knowledge in Power Apps and you're just sitting doing your own little thing. Come and share some of this knowledge. So a lot of them came to the boot camp to run the sessions on all the platforms, the breakout session, and it was really nice. You know, it was totally amazing. So that was the boot camp in February. Okay, so that's pretty much where we are now. And well, for the COVID-19, I had a webinar on Teams, talking about Teams, a free webinar, like explaining to people the benefits of using Teams and how they can use Teams now, because a lot of organizations in Nigeria were not really ready for this. So it came as a shock. Oh, how do we work? How do I engage my employees? How do I know what they're doing? You know, so we had this webinar to just say it's really easy. Just get Office 365, and this is how you use Teams and all. And then I also got a message from a lady in Microsoft that manages partners within our region in Africa, and basically saying, oh, we want to reach out to healthcare providers and to know what they need and how we can support. Are you available to build applications? Which was one of the things that Kit said to me that we can also do to support the community here in Africa. So I said, yes, very much. And I'm sure that a lot of community members were available to do this. So we've had a meeting just talking about what we're trying to achieve. And so she's going to get back to us on the different healthcare providers across Africa that would need our help. And then we can help them. Most of them probably will not even have Office 365. So we help them sign up to the tenants and basically get started and then start to build apps on top of that. So yes, like Kit mentioned, I would probably need some ideas on what you guys have done in your regions so we can know how we can also support and assist the healthcare providers here in Nigeria. Okay, so why am I so passionate about the Power Platform? Now, the first reason is the community. The community is amazing. Like it's the love is totally awesome. There's literally nobody you reach out to in the community that wouldn't give you a response, like literally give you the attention you require and help you through whatever problem it is that you have. So I found that really amazing and encouraging, and I've also tried to imbibe that in the local community here, and I've seen it work. I've seen local community members go to another community member's office, like, and literally sit with the person to try to build an app with him and walk him through the issues that he has. And I'm like, wow, this is that's the way. So it trickles down. So we've seen the global community, we've seen how much love and support that the global community has provided to the local community, and we're also doing the same thing here in Nigeria. So, and also the reason I like the Power Platform is because it's an agent of transformation. So when I say this, I mean there are a lot of people that are literally seen as, oh, you're not adding value in the organization, or you're just here merging Excel sheets, or you're just here collecting data. You're not really adding value. So if we lay you off, we're not going to miss anything. But what the Power Platform does is it enables these people to become employees that add value. So you can sit wherever you are. If you're in finance, if you're in human resources, if you're in admin, you can sit down there and start to add value, because you start to think automation first. How do we stop this repetitive thing we're doing? How can I use the Power Platform to bring all this data together and build a dashboard that gives insights and analysis to the business decision makers? So it creates a shift in your thinking even in the space where you are. So you don't need to go and get a degree in computer science or go and learn how to code. Right where you are in your function, you can become more productive by getting the Power Platform, knowing how to use the Power Platform applications. So for me, I find that really, I find out really transformational. And through the Citizen Developer Academy, I've seen non-tech guys come up and say, oh, like literally after the training, they start telling me, oh yes, there's this repetitive thing that we do. I would like to build an app for it. I would like to automate this process. Oh, I keep doing this thing over and over again. I would like to build a process to automate this. And it's really amazing. And then another aspect to it is, so this is for the guys that are employed. So like Nigeria, we have a lot of unemployed youths. Literally, I can say 8 of every 10 youth that graduates from the university doesn't really have a clue of what to do next. Like they're not sure they're going to get a job, or they're not sure of really what they're going to do next. So what the Power Platform does is it enables these young people that are coming out of school too. So you know what? You can get this knowledge and become self-sufficient. When you learn all of this, you don't really need to get a job to use these tools. You can on your own start to solve these problems. And once any organization knows that you can solve these problems, you can start to get jobs on your own and build applications for these organizations and automate their processes and get paid for it. Or better still, when you're invited for an interview, you're not coming as someone that doesn't have any value or doesn't have any knowledge about anything. You're coming to the table with something. You're coming to say, oh, I can do this, I can automate processes, I've done X and Y, So it literally just brings color to the whole gray and white or black and white lives that most of us are facing now. So these are the many reasons why I love the Power Platform so much and I'm so passionate about it. And yes, I would certainly remain an advocate of the Power Platform. Thank you.
Definitely. Definitely.
That was great. Yep. No, that's a really inspiring kind of journey that you had, Foyin. What would you say if somebody, like, what would be the 2 or 3 things that you would tell somebody who wants to do something like this? Like, what were the 3 things that you learned on this journey? I mean, just 1 or 2 things, yeah.
Okay, so the first thing I learned is just do the thing, right?
I like that. Do the thing.
Yeah, just do the thing.
Just
Yeah,
do the
just
thing.
do it.
Yes, because I've always wanted to start this. I've always seen the need for the community right from when I was using SharePoint, because everybody just seems to be scattered all over the place. But I never did it. I never started a community. I never did anything locally. So when the whole Power Platform thing started, I said, okay, yes, let me just try. Let me do it. And I just basically went to the Dynamics community site and I filled the form to apply. First of all, I checked. I said, okay, there's no community for Power Apps and Power Automation in Nigeria. Okay, that's a good start. So I applied. I just applied and I wasn't even sure what was going to come out of it. And to my surprise, I got a mail saying, oh, your application has been approved and we're going to create your page. And I was like, wow. So it's really about getting, we shouldn't think too much about what could go wrong. Just do it, just do the thing, and you'll be surprised at how it can explode. And after I did that, Donna came to Nigeria for a conference and she got connected with me, and that was just basically it. And I just told her, oh, this is what I'm doing in my little space. I'm just trying to do this. And she was like, wow, this is fantastic. And she came to meet me in the office and, and I was just like, wow. And everything it just started exploding from there. So yes, so it's just do the thing. That's the first big lesson, do the thing. And the second big lesson for me is always give back. Always give back. Always give back. So don't think about what's needed. Think about how to help the next person first, which was also one of the major things I learned. And it gives fulfillment. like the Citizen Developer Academy, I can't begin to describe how fulfilled I felt after we ran the 3 streams, where someone was literally coming to say, please help me build my app. I've been waiting on you to build this app for me. And I just said, sorry, I'm dealing with so many management things right now. I can't even, your app.
Oh,
she signed up for
no.
the academy. And she,
Oh, no, she's back. She's back.
oh, sorry. And she signed up for the academy. And after that, she, you know, and she felt so fulfilled doing it. You know, I could see the joy in her face that I did this myself. So the second big lesson is let's just keep giving. I know the community, every member of the community is giving a lot. Like I'm just amazed, the videos that come out every day, the blogs, there's just so much. So those are the 2 big lessons for me. And I think the next thing I want to do is, one of the things I observed is we have very few female members of our community here in Nigeria. So it's like literally you have 20 males and maybe 2 females. So the ratio is really low. So I was speaking to Sam about it. I think I want to start something that's focused on women and ladies, just basically encouraging them. You know what, you don't want to code, fine, come learn the Power Platform. You don't need to use less code. So you may not even write any code and develop your apps. So that's one of the next things I'm looking at doing now.
Can we share the name?
Yes, we can.
Okay, you want to share the name? Maybe we can get some ideas from them. You know, it's.
So we're trying to figure out what name to call it. So Sam suggested tech. What was it, Sam?
Stylist.
Tech stylist.
Yeah.
I see, tech stylers. I like the play on words.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a huge gap. That I think on the content, I think it's a worldwide thing. There's always this, you know, just a very small percentage of females in tech, and for some reason, the few, you know, females that are doing well in tech mostly find it hard and shy, you know, to come out and want to put their faces out there and even want to, you know, even take part in the community. So some of them come and either they are, you know, hiding somewhere, they don't want to, you know, be part. So it's a struggle, but we're hoping to, you know, to have, you know, a lot more, you know, females in the tech space, not just for the Power Platform, but in the tech ecosystem entirely. So
yeah, it can't be an old boys club anymore. You know, it's got to be got to flatten it out, and I think that's where the Power Platform's slightly different, because there is none of that kind of like old boys club there. It's new, it's fresh. There is no history with it. It's like, bring your skills on. And I think having spent the last 6 weeks now on lockdown with my wife, I can tell you I've learned the difference between boys and girls, and I've figured out that like boys like to tinker and girls like to get the you know what on with it. And so I think Power Platform kind of plays to that female trait of like, let's get it done, let's stop mucking around and thinking about like tinkering. So yeah, I mean that's certainly what the Watling household is going through at the moment. But yeah, for sure, man, that sounds awesome. The Tech Stylers, that's a really good name.
Yeah, it's a really good name. Yep.
Pretty
I can
cool.
see logos and stickers and everything.
So do you have
so
a
much.
timeline for it?
Oh, someone says tech on heels.
Wow,
someone
nice.
says tech on heels. Yeah.
Timelines, not yet, but I mean, it's just an idea. I've not sat down. Okay, I need to do the thing now.
Yeah, you need to do the thing.
Yes.
I don't think anyone could have summarized it much better than you. # do the thing and give back. I think that's the 2 main things that you need to kind of keep doing. Yeah.
No
Thank
kidding.
you.
We started with people in a WhatsApp group that blew up to 100, and then people started giving back, and now you have like about 220 people in your community.
Yeah, we have over 500 on.
That's massive.
Telegram.
Right, about 500.
Yes,
Just
for the whole
Ouch.
the whole
Yeah.
Power platform.
500. Wow.
Yes,
Oh.
and giving the Power BI community a big hug was a good thing too.
Yeah, you guys have done great. Well, I think that just about wraps it up for our mid-COVID crisis. Well, hopefully mid-COVID crisis. I'm sure Donald said it would be over by now. But yeah, mid-COVID crisis, Power Addicts Hangout. Join us next month for more solitary confinement. Lord alone knows what we'll have come up with next month. But do send us your ideas. If you want to appear on the show, please reach out to us as well. We're always looking for cool stuff. And please share the apps that you've built for your community through this these very interesting times in which we live. So yeah, like please share that. We'll give you so many props. And if you are someone out there who's stumbled across this, who's looking for some help with an app for the community for COVID, please reach out to us. We'll set you up with and put you in contact with the right people to unblock you as soon as humanly possible. So thanks very much for that, guys. Lots of love. Congrats again to all the MVPs, the fresh ones. Just so made up for you all. And thanks, and see you next time.
Right, and just one thing before we end, we have the We Are Power Addicts website, which if you haven't seen it yet, go there. And I mean, we post our Hangout announcements. So for the next month, though it mainly is around the second Tuesday of the month, but we post it here and you can see it because we were getting a lot of complaints on this. And yes, MBAS is happening on May 6th. If you don't know about that, it's a virtual event. You can register and sign in, join. So do sign up for that as well.
It's free at no cost.
It's free. Yep. Yeah. So just
don't knock it.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everybody. Stay safe and take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.